primary one of which is
And just watch, make sure it's
Bunny. This is Bunny,
good.
by the way. He's the one that's going to be talking tonight.
This is a
Round
perfect
of applause for
opportunity.
Bunny beforehand, because later you might be fighting. No, I'm kidding. But I'm Steve from UpaDowna. This is Bunny. Randy's back there, manning the computer. If anything goes wrong with any of the electronics, it's Randy's fault. Just to clarify. But
Alex.
for those of you that
Yeah,
might not
thank
know,
you.
UpaDowna is a local nonprofit that's trying to get everybody stoked on the outdoors. Other than teaching people how to climb and hike and just enjoy anything and everything about Colorado, we also try to do some educational programs such as this one, where we get speakers from the community to come and share some of their experiences. We've had individuals that have traveled the world, that have rafted, that have climbed, run, hiked, hot air ballooned, all sorts of exciting things. The purpose of the Adventure on Tap is to share your story. So often in life, we have these great things that when we come back home, we're like, yeah, that was all right. And we don't tell anybody. But what's happening is we're starting to lose the appreciation for all those amazing events, those amazing experiences. And while to a lot of us, when we're doing it or when we've completed it, we might not feel like it's super awesome and worth sharing. But anything and everything you do is worth sharing with someone else, because all of this becomes an inspiration. So what we're going to do is we're going to let Bunny take the mic for a little while. We're going to run through some slides. And without further ado, round of applause for Robert Bunny Mitchell.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Can you hear me okay? I'm not used to public speaking mics.
Up a little bit.
We're going to kill a little bit of the front lighting so you can see that a little bit better.
I'm figuring it out. You keep talking.
You keep talking.
Well, Steve's figuring it out. This is where I progressed in photography with the starting slide. It's, well, no, go back, please. Thank you. It's where I like to get my images now, a little bit more saturated, and I try to pull out a lot of detail. Tonight I'm going to try to walk you through a little bit of my progression as a photographer. Grew up and down more or less because I didn't pick up photography until I started doing more gear and trying to start a word. And actually, my beginning stages, Randy helped me out a lot. She was doing photography. She helped me learn the basics of the camera. And yeah, so okay, well, go ahead. Can you hit the next slide, please? So back in 2005, I banged up both of my feet pretty bad. And there was a chance that I was going to lose my right leg from the, well, I had an infection. It just mattered where they stopped it. They looked at my knee down. And I had a real stage of depression about not being able to get back out, possibly. Can you hit the next one, Steve? So I had my ligaments repaired and my tendons repaired in my right foot. Previous slide was on my left foot, where they removed my sesamoid bones. Hi, Ian. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead again. Yeah, if you guys don't like gore, this part's the really nasty part. But so here's my foot. This is what it should have done. But on the next slide, you'll see the infection. It started opening up, and I had a drainage tube put in my leg. I had a pseudomonas infection, and ever since then, I've been prone to really bad kinkles. And part of the thing that helps me with photography is I have an excuse to hike slower. I can stop and look at everything while Steve just runs for it. That's the other one I continuously roll. And through it all, I was pretty bummed out, and then I got a new hiking buddy. And he helped me out a lot. And from the very first day I picked him up from the Humane Society in Ewing campus.
What's his name?
That's my dog, Toby.
There you go.
He's an Aussie mutt mix. We've been to a lot of cool places together. He's my little buddy. Go ahead, Steve. And after the beginnings with him, some of my long-term buddies and I started hiking together again. We'd go to places all around Colorado, like that last one was Lost Creek. Here's Pine Creek Trail up in the Collegiates. And from there, it got me back into my love for the outdoors, and I started taking classes at Pikes Peak Community College. And I ended up interning and being a guide and hanging out with this joker. Now, a disclaimer on this picture before anybody judges him. There's a product in his right hand, and that was a working experience.
Don't judge.
We had to get on the other side sober to test out these sober pills, so to say. It worked okay. So this was actually the first camping trip I was ever on with Mr. Hitchcock. And it was a winter survival class in Pikes Peak Community College when we met in, I want to say 2008, maybe 7, somewhere in there. And we had to build these wonderful winter huts. Go back real quick, Steve. I'll play your game for a second. So if everybody notices, that's my beardless face peeking through the trench in the background. And I have this beautiful silver North Face down jacket on. And I hate Steve to this still, but he swears that I look like a snow bunny. And being that we were at the Pikes Peak Community College, the next class I interned for was Desert Field Studies. What do you got on my IPA, buddy? My IPA. So, I happened to be standing out there by a bush before we dropped into a canyon. I'm only telling you this because everybody wants to ask me all the time where Buddy came from. And before we went into the canyon, we were wearing wetsuits. And I had to pee. So, a rabid jackrabbit tends to be a little bit territorial. While I was in the middle of handling business, we met. And half the students were the same students that were on this trip, and I got stuck with one. No, man, So Steve and I started playing more and more on the road, and we started working together at Pikes Peak Community College, instructing. And Steve was actually the instructor of a mountain field study class, and I was his safety guide, or safety tech. And we make out with snakes and stuff. And the adventures just kept coming, and from there we kept doing more with UpaDowna. And, well, Steve was already doing UpaDowna. It was kind of a one-man show at the time. And he had talked me into helping him out a little bit. And this was our very first beer review ever, the PBR. Don't judge us. From there we kept growing, and we kept doing things together. And we developed a little stronger than any more ordinary team, I think, and kind of became a family. And we all started working together really well. It took a little bit of time. We all bashed our heads together more than once, but it was a good shot of Randy and Steve up at Pikes Peak. We were all running things. And we did more and more in town. And we started doing community things like the pedal party, which Ari here from the caves. And I wish Steve or Travis were here for this picture, but... So we kept doing more and more local events. And Mike in the dress, right? From MER, if you guys know Mike. And that continuously led to more and more gear reviews where we had to sacrifice our bodies and belly flop in sand dunes and stuff. It's a good thing I have some cushioning. Which took us to the OR show where we got to hang out with cool people and hear better stories than mine. And even cooler people. And then we got to escape death a few times. There's a tall tree. And the shenanigans just kept continuing as we grew up and down. Cody looks really happy. We kept going to new and new places and expanding ourselves more. This is what used to be the Teva Mountain Games. It's out of Vail. It's now the GoPro Mountain Games. And that's Ryan. He used to be one of our contributors. So I know everybody thought this was my photography, and part of it is, but as it's about UpaDowna as well, you're going to see pictures that include me, so I didn't shoot them. I think Randy actually shot these when we were doing the dock dogs, the games. And my dog has never jumped into the water again. It was like 9 in the morning, and I didn't think about the water being 30 degrees all night or whatever. We got pretty far. I might have already swam. But it brought a lot of cool opportunities and unique ways for us to shoot and do more and more. I got to get behind the scenes at the big air jumps on the mountain bikes. And then we find people we knew. This is Steve Thompson and his wife, Mia, before I was actually hanging out with them all the time and working with them. There's a little cameo of Astor popping in. Steve and Randy's dog, Cody's. And the cool thing about photography is, for me anyways, don't be scared to shoot, and don't be scared to shoot with what you have. I actually didn't even have my camera on me at this moment, and I was able to pull out the cell phone, so play. And we kept doing more. And then the third Sunday adventures happened, and we started having snow days. People were happy. People were really happy. Which also led us to Climb Night, was another event we started doing. Which is done here. If anyone is interested, please ask afterwards. And I got to even know some of Cody's favorite stuffed animals. And we have drinking problems. So what you're seeing right here is a little safety net for me, because I know some people want to roast me the whole time. Look at them legs. So the outdoor retailer show that we were fortunate enough to go to, they have these cool parties sometimes, and it's Steve's Joe Dirt 80s butt rock. And
That's a Tuesday wardrobe.
Shooting more and more opportunities came available too. And one of the things that I got asked to do was shoot the cover for Peak Region Cyclist, which I guess just right place, right time. And more Sunday adventures. It's the third Sunday of every month. If anyone's ever interested in joining UpaDowna, it's a completely free program. Plug. So we kept doing more and more gear reviews as well, and that's what's going on here. A little fly fishing, backpacking trip with the boys from Mile High Mountaineering. Modeled by Steve Hitchcock. More and more programs kept coming towards us, and this is an event we did with the Denver Children's Hospital, and that's Hannah, a good friend, Ethan Black. Gear reviews kept coming as well as we needed them for our sites, and I started getting better at taking gear pictures and stills. The paddle party is now coming around, and we had our first opportunity with doing SUP last year. And there's Randy rocking it out. She's pretty good on those things now. Continue with climbing. Another thing we do is the roar. So what you're seeing here is I'm getting a lot of exposure and practice as an event photographer. And I didn't know it. John Adams wearing great shorts. We started working more and more with the fat bikes. We do have a fat bike day that we do globally every year with many other fat bike people, but this just happened to be one of our events we do at the Hub on the third Sunday at Aspen Valley Ranch. Shot Sarah Kelso's daughter Molly at the third Sunday hikes. So many jackets Sarah was holding, you know, ridiculous. So then we get to do still product shoots all the time. And right here you're seeing a Benchmade knife that is a reviewing UpaDowna. Okay, so hold right here, Steve. So this is the third Sunday hike again. And I came to a point with photography that I didn't know what I was doing, and I was learning to define myself as a photographer, and it gets kind of tricky. Many of you guys might think you just click and point and shoot events or this or that, but there's actually, it's like going to a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, and wanting Italian food. Like, specify what you want. I don't shoot weddings, I don't get into that, but I didn't know where I was at as a photographer, and I was still developing myself, and trying to figure out what I was passionate about. So we're going to go into now a little bit of my exploration. Let's see. And one of the things I started doing, or I was asked to do, is family shots. And this the floods out, just being silly. Then still product shoots for companies. Halloween costume type events. Makeup artists, more still product photography. Gym shoots. More gym shoots. Car shows. But one thing I started to realize is I wasn't having as much fun as I was with outdoors. And I was finally able to realize what I wanted to do, and it was more and more landscape photography and less of these events. Really are fun, it's just, you gotta follow your passion, or people will see it in your work. Hey, that's you, Ian. So I started using Photoshop a lot more too, and finding ways to pull things out. We tried to rescue a baby squirrel over the summer. It worked for like a month. Shut up, Kirk. And my dog, again, helped me want to get back into the outdoors and shoot more. And on that same trip, I happened to meet what is now a lifelong friend who was in the last slide. His name is Ryan. And he taught me a lot about outdoor photography. We're just going crazy now. And if any of you know Doug, he has a glorious beard even in the wind. So through UpaDowna, I'm able to go out on some really unique trips to great places and see things that a lot of people don't normally get to see. Like Ryan. Sometimes things just jump out in front of you and you have to wait for them, so you might as well pull out your camera. And then sometimes you set up for gear reviews and products. And you get to come up with some kind of fun deep shots for Mountain Smith. So many of the places that are going to start popping up are either, well, you can access them anywhere. It really doesn't matter. If you're into outdoor photography or landscape, don't be afraid to just drive somewhere and shoot iconic scenes, or places that high traffic volume you can walk to, like Landscape Arch and Arches National Park. You can really define yourself by getting far out, though, and shooting unique things that not everybody gets to see. But like I said, don't let that bother you, because here we might think shooting Garden of the Gods is a completely oversaturated thing, and it might not speak very high volume to any of you, but somebody in New York City has probably never seen Garden of the Gods. So I play with editing a lot and pulling out colors and contrasts. You can see it right here. And I have a lot of fun in Photoshop. There's a lot of different things you can do, no matter what your medium for photography is. And compositing is really fun. It took a long time to clean. Hey, Kurt. I saw him here somewhere. He's pretty. After a long, hard day at the gym, he deserved a beer on the couch. More editing this, just fun tunnels. Gym shoots will probably always still be there, but hold there, Steve. But the one thing that kept bringing me back is my dog and the mountains. They're just two things that I'm constantly passionate about, is being in the outdoors. And this picture kind of captures both of those a little bit. more and more adventures kept happening, and more people kept coming into our lives. And we got a couple buddies here that are normals. I don't know. I see Brandon, Dana, Andy Witt. To name a few that probably were there that day. Maybe not. I don't know if Dana was there. Sorry, Dana.
I was there.
But Doug's beard tends to freeze up pretty cool. Doug takes a little longer on some trails, so he has a little more exposure, but he handles it like a champ. This is actually another shot I was able to capture with the light. It just was fun to edit. Behind Pikes Peak. And the one driving force still, my dog, keeping me out always. So this is actually another product shoot that we did in Utah. Steve and I and a couple other guys had to build this boat. And it's a canvas canoe, or who correct me on that, what material it is. But it was 5 minutes, tops. How long, Steve?
What?
5 minutes? That's all it took us, right?
8 times. First time like 2 hours. Stupid thing.
That's on him. So more and more adventures continue to happen. And it's something I'm passionate about shooting is the outdoors. So obviously with UpaDowna and the means to do it, it pays me more than I picked it. But I like it. Colorado always offers us amazing sunsets, and you'll never find two that are the same. Sometimes we put the camera down and somebody else picks it up and we pick up a little guys. So this is actually a composite I did. Sometimes you can't quite get the picture you want, and I shouldn't tell anybody this, but I couldn't get both seals in the picture ever, so I manipulated 2 photos together. Learn how to do it. Repeat. More unique places that we just happened to get to. This is outside of Lake City in an old abandoned mining town. And our buddy Andy, who's a little braver than most, to go out there on that bridge. The bottoms are completely washed out. So no matter what you're shooting with or how you're shooting, just go out and do it. Don't be afraid of ridicule from others or anybody. Just go out there and do it. No 2 pictures are going to be the same. Your perspective and my perspective are going to be different. What you see as art is going to be different from the next person. The fact that you're an inch taller, you're using a different lens, the shots will never be the same. Did that again? It's a different picture. So dogs continue to be fun to shoot, and they never complain. More fun with compositing. It all starts from photos or sketches or however you want to do it, but play with your cameras. And a lot of people, this one is a shot from Goblin Valley. It's kind of a unique one. Well, the road outside of Goblin Valley, Utah. The authenticity of it is 100% on my end. Now, if the starfish happen to really be there, or somebody else planted it there, that's up for debate. Express yourself in your ways and use photography to speak to you. I like to set up this little fake tent Christmas ornament thing I have and just shoot it on the ground whenever I go camping, or I used to anyway and say like I'm camping. So down in the right-hand corner is a little picture of Steve Hitchcock. People don't realize how many 14ers we've probably done as a group, as individuals, or whatever. I'd say at least 2, right? But on this day, Steve decided that he wanted to enjoy nature and have a little bit of solitude, so he stayed back. Well, this is when we were helping Children's Hospital. And he helped people at Tree Line, well, a couple of us stayed home. It was actually kind of nice to see Steve sit back for once, because usually he charges ahead and he takes care of everybody else. So it was nice to see him relax a little bit that day. And it's his little speck. So there's a couple other buddies as we're trying to breathe fire, I guess. And Brian taking selfies. Selfies are a great form of expression too, if you like that sort of thing. One of the guys from the Pikes Peak Community Foundation here, Eric Cephas, outside of a poisonous spider Moab area there, where some petroglyphs are. We're checking them out. Never miss an opportunity to sneak up on wildlife, unless it's bigger than you. So now I'm kind of starting to really dial in how I like to shoot, and it took a lot of experimentation and playing. As the three gossips and arches. So here's a little freeze your butt off trip we decided to do in the middle of winter to summit a 14er. I just like this shot of Steve. Piney Creek. Product review for Fikes fishing poles or fly rods, I guess. Just another example of how we get to go out and shoot kind of new things and unique places, so you might as well take advantage of it. Overlooking Picket Wire Canyon where the dinosaur tracks were. Steve and Moab on our way to Delicate Arch, I believe. The Hannigan Monkey Wrench game. That's also the same winter trip where I saw a picture of Steve where we were on the Letterhorn and Menhorn. Nikki actually caught this pig. I think I got a picture of Dana here taking a picture of me, taking a picture of him. Up on Sawtooth, between Bierstadt and Mount Evans on a recent trip as well. Silver Falls, behind Treasure Falls, by Pagosa Springs. A couple years ago, I happened to be at the right place at the right time, but it was a bad time for our country. It was when the Boston bombing happened, and I didn't know until it came out of the canyon, and Capitol Reef had a flag at half-mast. Sunset shot above Pine Creek Trail and Collegiate Peaks. Steve always studying the map and keeping the team on course. So some friends and I recently went back to the desert to play around, and it was kind of a neat experience. And something I really enjoy to do is help others venture into new areas and seeing what it brings to them. So just like photography does, it's a way to share and express yourself. And through UpaDowna, that's what we're constantly trying to do, to share the outdoors with everyone and our mindset on it. Pictures are a great opportunity to format to do that with. It's Zion National Park, Angel's Landing. Some ruins in the North Fork of the Mule Canyon. Playing with some editing. My dad's always an easy victim. So take your friends out places, put smiles on their faces, watch them light up. Especially if you take people you care about or enjoy being around, and you're more passionate about taking their pictures. Put it in an environment you like as well, and you're going to be even more passionate about it. For me, it's the mountains and the wilderness, the outdoors in general. For you, it could be chilling. More UpaDowna adventures, more awesome hand models. So I'm finally developing myself as where I want to be anyway, and I'm understanding that I want to shoot the outdoors more. I don't want to shoot events at a brewery. I don't want to shoot product shots. I don't want to shoot weddings. I don't want to shoot engagements. I want to shoot people having experiences building fires and learning how to do things. I want to shoot trees that might not be here in 100 years. Or 10 years. I want to hang out with people that make me happy and enjoy experiences. So right here I'm with Ryan, who I was in the last picture with, and we're wearing those stupid suits because we didn't have canyoneering suits. And they were $5 at Goodwill. But so I'm trying to capture Horseshoe Bend in northern Arizona, southern Utah, right there on the state line, pretty much. And if I knew that I was hanging on about 3, I don't know, that sandstone's pretty thin though, that overhang. Probably wouldn't have crawled out as far as I did. But most people, when they shoot Horseshoe Bend, don't capture the full river in the frame because they don't crawl out and commit to it. Committing to things is cool, but know your limits. And the wind was really roaring that day. Things could have happened. But I was pretty happy with this shot. I was able to get the entire river frame and a little bit then some. Some people even have this one hanging up on their wall. Thanks, Greg. Sunrises and sunsets in Colorado always create great contrast, and the sky is great, the trees are beautiful. There's something there. But shoot it with your phone, shoot it with your point and shoot. You can on automatic if you have to. Practice. Don't. That's the only way you're going to learn. We live in a beautiful place that has dynamic to shoot anything. And then Utah is just a state away, and you can go to really cool places like the Green River in Colorado, and you can cut through the canyons. What you're going to see here is these pictures are going to look pretty similar. This one and the next one are the exact same picture. It's just playing with it a little bit. So learn how to edit a little bit too, and you'll be able to pop a lot more dynamic out of pictures. Without shooting it in HDR. Sometimes you find things that just don't seem right, and sometimes they're just not right. Or sometimes the man tells you that. So that can't be a real track we determine because birds, well, they don't have 4 front toes and the back toes in the tail. They do lizards, so we're still trying to figure that one out. If you have a budget, I strongly recommend buying wide range lens, a 10 to 24, so you can shoot things like tall trees and save in your frame, or larger shots of big places that wrap it all together. Go out often and play in different lighting setups. Shoot more and more. And this picture just is a shot, I think, by Ryan or Steve or somebody when we were out there shooting the boats. But this really dials it in for me because I'm in my element. I'm out with my dog, my best buddy. We're playing. One thing we'll always be is UpaDowna, and we'll be around shooting Wednesday nights. Oh, party? See unique things, even if it's not the outdoors or something that speaks to me. I'm going to stop and shoot. And this is an old train depot outside of Walsenburg. I'm still going to play with the ranges, even though I'm finding myself as a landscape photographer. I snuck this one in because I still really want to play with composites and image editing. Slow down, Steve. And one of my favorite things to shoot are babies. I didn't expect that to happen. I don't know how it happened, but I got lucky there because I like them. And they're easy for me, at least if you like shot like that. Which is a good thing because I jumped ahead. Well, I can see the other image behind that one, but it's not going to come up. Because I got one on the way. So. Yeah, so I challenge all of you guys to shoot for you, shoot things that you're passionate about, and if it ever gets hard, just go back to things you really enjoy shooting, and things you're comfortable with. If it's your cat at home, if it's beer, if it's gym, if it's climbing. Whatever it is, it will help you out a lot because you're more comfortable in that setting. You'll feel less stressed. But, you don't see a wedding shooter at football games getting the best shots. You see a football somebody with a football mind who knows when it's going to be a running play versus a touchdown, and they're setting themselves up for success because they understand the dynamics of what they're shooting. So if you can do that, that's the best way to improve your photography. If you guys are ever interested in getting out with us or doing some of these things, we have a lot of outlets for you to do it. I'm going to stop there. The kind that takes pictures. I use a Nikon. I use a couple different Nikons, and I have a series of lenses. And I actually, Randy's helped me out here. I actually bought a Nikon, Christian bought a Nikon. So we can change the lenses. Everybody good? Anybody got any questions?
What's the hardest thing about taking pictures on while you're hiking?
Bigfoot is always blurry. The hardest thing was probably just trying to stop and dial it in. When you're with the groups, sometimes people don't really want to stop. And just taking the time to realize you're out there for you sometimes, or send it up at your speed. I think weather is always fun to watch too in Colorado. Ryan.
What's your favorite lens? What's your favorite focal length?
Oh man, the 85 is really sharp. Can't really answer that wrong. An 85 is a really sharp lens. Ryan asked me what is my favorite lens, and he helped me out. He specified more and said, what is my favorite focal length for a camera lens? I recently invested in a nicer 85 millimeter lens. And it's a fixed lens, so you have to move to the subject. You can't zoom in and out to fit it in your frame, but the end result is very sharp if you're in focus.
Do you always carry a tripod? Do you always carry a tripod?
Do I always carry a tripod? No, I don't. And especially not when I'm backpacking. And if you're going to shoot star tails or light up tints or something, it's pretty handy to have. But don't feel like you have to go invest in a Macro $400 tripod and not need a shot. More often than not, if you need to, you can set up your camera on some rocks or something. But depending on what you're shooting, a tripod is pretty handy. I just think there's ways to get around it. And if you're hiking and you want the stability of the tripod, but you don't want the weight, you can purchase a monopod trekking pole, which are pretty handy. You get multi-use out of them. Randy. Ian.
So in a lot of your photography, you see balance in the middle or justify to the left or the right. Do you have like a list of things that you're actually looking for? You come to this like, oh, I should really take a photo of this.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to, so Ian's kind of asking me about proportion and composition, which leads into rules of three and rules of thirds. And those are all basic photography lessons that you kind of want to live by, but I try to tell people in the beginning stages of it too, don't get so set on that you miss the opportunity to take a shot, because it happens. But if you can balance the picture out to get your rules of three, so you have images on the bottom of, you fill the frame completely from left to right and top to bottom evenly, that's the best way to figure that out. Yes, that answers. Everybody enjoying their beer, remembering to tip your servers. Randy? So, Randy asked me if anybody in here, what do I use to carry cameras into the backcountry? Mount Smith is a backpacking company that we've been lucky enough to work with a few times, and they have a great price point. There's more expensive backpacks like Quick Elite and Locos and stuff, but the Mountain Smith are well padded, secure packs at a really good MSRP, and just depending on how much gear you want to take and like outdoor gear and safety equipment, you kind of have to find a combination to merge those two things because not all packs really allow for it. So one of the things that I've done is I use a Salute pack by Mile High Mountaineering as well. And then I got an insert for 3 camera lenses that I put inside of there so I could still carry my like 10 essentials with me, which you should all do if you're in the backcountry, especially by yourself. And that allows me a lot more room to work with, and then I use what's called a peak design clip, and it allows me to hook my pack up, or my camera up to my pack on the straps, for quick release. More secure. Thanks. Yeah, I do, and Randy does, and Steve. We all put everything up on UpaDowna. And then if you're on Instagram, you can follow us at UpaDowna or UpaDowna Mountain Mama or UpaDowna Bunny. And they'll all be on there, as well as Yonder, which is a great, it's pretty much Instagram, but specifically for outdoors. So you're not going to see like everything else. That's just a good way to put it. You know, those things, duck faces, the selfies. You guys know about selfies, right? Anybody? Anybody? I'm going to get hit later. So thanks for bearing with me, everybody, because like I said, I'm not the greatest of public speakers. So these were just done this summer out at Memorial Park when we were introducing a SUP program, and Randy's actually going to be running a big one this summer. Man, permits, bro.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday the 30th, right? The 30th? Randy's got a big event planned, and it's on UpaDowna if you're curious at all. And get out there and play in the water. Take your cameras, get pictures, and post them. UpaDowna. But if you guys can take away anything from tonight, and if you're struggling with photography and it's something you want to do, don't judge me up here talking. Don't judge it just off my pictures, but keep these words and shoot what you're passionate about, and it'll make the transition so much easier for you. I have to apologize. I definitely threw Randy, because she's in charge of electronics, definitely threw Bunny for a loop. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are a lot of pictures up there that Bunny was planning to talk about that I don't know what the heck happened. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. But some of them didn't show up. So we're running through it again this way, so you can see some of the pictures that are up there. If anybody's got any questions about a specific shot, or how I edited something, or what programs I use, whose shoulders what programs do you use? So everybody thinks Photoshop's like a beast, and it is. It's like learning another language. But if you take the time to do it, it's not that bad. Right now, a big problem with Photoshop is everybody has a mentality that it's like $600 to buy, and it is. But what they have, Adobe has made it much more reasonable for people, and there's a program called Creative Cloud. And you can, I think it's $9.99 a month or $19.99 a month, and you can get the Photoshop package. What's that? $20 a month, yeah. $19.99 plus tax. But after I did that, see, not long after I signed up for Photoshop, in the Adobe Cloud, I had some problems with it, downloading it, and I called the helpline, and it was definitely an outsourced, like to Abu Dhabi. And, yeah, and then not soon after that, my bank account was hacked by several foreign entities.
Robert, do you use Lightroom at all?
I don't use Lightroom at all. And I don't have an issue with Lightroom except for the fact that what I generally try to do are things that you can't do in Lightroom for compositing. But Lightroom's great, and for someone who might use Instagram a lot, or familiar with filters, you can do a lot with Lightroom to change up the values of the pictures like that with the brightness and contrast, right, Ryan? Is that what you use? If anybody doesn't know Ryan, That's Ryan Hannigan. He's the guy to talk to about beer. He does a lot of great beer photography and photography in general. But you.
So, one of the other things, like, I know because we jumped around with that stuff, and I apologize, Gordy, that's super lame of Randy to do that to him. But, no, one of the main takeaways was simply that all of the pictures that you see up here, for the most part, some were really creepy and weird. I'm not a big fan of clowns, like, they don't freak me out, but not the coolest thing in the world. But one of the biggest takeaways is, as Bunny mentioned earlier, you just have to get out there, 1 foot in front of the other. And a lot of these shots aren't those that are set up, other than that one. He definitely had that deer sit there for him. But taxidermy, he's got that on the mantle at the house. No, but seriously, the only way to really open up your photography and your photographic eye and your vision is to actually get out there. And that's been a wonderful thing to watch as Bunny's progressed through this stuff, is his eye. And it really is kind of a window, I don't want to be weird about it, but kind of a window to the soul. Like, you're seeing what interests that individual. And while your perspective may be different and you might not appreciate the certain pictures you're seeing, the stuff that we see that Bunny produces, I don't know if you've noticed, but a great deal of these were focused on the individual in there. And for those of you that don't know Bunny real well, he has a huge heart. And he does focus on people and his interaction with them and how invaluable those personal relationships are. So the big takeaway that I had, and I'm going to hit Bunny up for a couple more things here in a second, was simply that he's showing us who he is with these pictures. And that's the point of a lot of his photography, is it's a window to the soul. It shows everybody around you what's important to you in the way that you look at certain situations. So I'm going to hand the mic back to Bunny asking this question, is when you go outside, what is the inspiration? Like, when you've got your camera, are you shooting 5,000 pictures and picking the best one? Or do you sit there and reflect and look and then find that shot? Like, what's your technique for getting that stuff?
Spray and pray. In the beginning, for me, a lot of times I did have the mindset to shoot, and you'll get something. And that's okay. Like, I don't know the exact quote, but it was Ansel Adams, and he said something like, I shoot 10,000 pictures and you might see one of them. But more so than not now, I have taken time to slow down a lot. And I shoot exactly what I want, or I kind of get ahead of everybody else in the group, and I kind of already visualize, like, oh, this area looks cool, it'll make for a good scene if they're walking through it or something, and I kind of make the image that I created in my head a little bit before I ever even hit the shutter. Recently, you saw some pictures being in here in the canyons. One of my models is back there at the bar, Alex, and we had a couple other guys with us too. And I surprised myself with how little I even shot that week. And I only brought like 6 images, but I mean, I probably only, believe it or not, I probably only took like 50. But it just kind of happens. Yeah, the more times you press the shutter, the more pictures you're going to get. It doesn't always mean they're going to be great, but it will give you more to work with. But if you have an idea or an image already in your head, or a direction you want to go with it, it will definitely help you to make the picture instead of just take the picture.
Anybody else want to harass him for asking another question? What's up, Ryan? No, Ryan, you have to wait. No, so another thing, oh, here we go. Go ahead, what's up?
Any horror stories of dropping stuff in the water, falling over a rock?
Nope. But I have friends who have. No, but like I said before about shooting what you're passionate about, I put myself in some stressful situations shooting things that I wasn't so passionate about, or paying clients. And a big issue for me, I'm kind of glad you brought this up, it's kind of off it, but the horror story for me, and I learned the hard way of photography, is backing up your images. I did back up my images on a hard drive. Hi, John. But that was the only place I backed them up on. And when an external hard drive craps on you, it's like $3,000 to get it fixed if PC brokers and local places can't, and you have to ship it out. So back up your images in more than one spot. That's really my biggest like gripe or like goal that I've had. So I have friends, I'm not going to point anybody out, and here that have some bad experiences with, and it just happens. The more you're out with your camera, you're gonna, lenses are glass, they're gonna break. You know, if you drop something, I'm gonna lie now, I just remembered. My very first camera was everybody's little style, like, Nikon point and shoot. This is probably why I don't remember, because it doesn't really matter to me. But thank God it was only like a $100 camera. Like your quick shot, ELF, whatever, everybody probably had at one point, some kind of zoom camera. I had it at the sand dunes. And we had a great time shooting with it, but sand got in the lens and the motor would not allow it to zoom in or out anymore because there were grains stuck in between. Yeah, I mean, things are going to happen. Things are going to break. You get insurance on your camera, insurance on your lenses. I'm sure Ryan, Alex, or Andy, anybody who could tell you a horror story. Everybody's going to have a different one. But it's part of the game. Like, how many times have you dropped your phone? You know? If it's broke or not, it happens. I love all of you, and thank you for coming.
We're not letting them out that, don't clap. We're not letting them out that. Seriously. No, you know, I'm kind of the one that keeps kind of digging deep with money to try to get him to open up a little more about this stuff. But the guy truly does care about his photography. And one of the things that I always screw up on is, say I see a bird in a tree. My picture ends up being like 19 trees, and I have to point out to people where the damn bird is. So, do you take time to like switch lenses out to try to get that focus, or do you use the computer to do the fancy zoom and stuff? And if you do switch out lenses, how many do you recommend people carry whenever they're out and about?
All right, that's a two-part question to answer. I'm going to take that back to how do I know what to shoot and what to shoot with. And I think it's really just practice. You're not going to, especially if you're using the DSLR, you're not going to always know, especially in the beginning, what lens is going to be best to take with you. You got a 300 millimeter zoom lens, which gives you great range, but yet you didn't realize that being a 55 to 300 millimeter zoom lens, you can't get below that, and you need a wide angle lens to capture a tree. So get out and practice. It's time behind your camera, time behind your lens. You got to put it in. Sitting on your couch watching Ellen, Dr. Phil. That's where I waste a lot of my time. Isn't going to help you progress as a photographer. It's trial and error, and you're gonna take more bad shots than you're gonna take good shots. But you have to use that time for growth. I did. I mean, it was. I'm still doing it. I'm gonna continue to do it. And if I'm not, then I'm not pushing myself to try new things enough. But nowadays I kind of know what lens will always fit the subject that I want now. And I have an idea of how far away I need to be to make it work, as well as my apertures and my f-stop, light balance and lighting. But you're not going to know that if you don't go out and try. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and shoot with whatever you have, and it'll continuously get better for you. Yes, Steve. Hi, Randy. UpaDowna. No, I guess I don't really have one website. There's a lot of good media out there. A lot of good things you can follow on the internet. I mean, there's so much there for us at all times. Look up specifically what you're after. The DSLR Lounge is a pretty good one where there's forums and you can talk to other people as well as f-stoppers. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I'm online looking up stuff, it's usually more Photoshop based. But there's Outdoor Photography is a magazine, a periodical that you can get. A monthly magazine is kind of expensive, but it's kind of fun. And that just comes down to, I think, engrossing yourself more and more with the things that you're passionate about. little speak easier to you? Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I was sitting here wondering, like, what I'm shooting at, like, whether there's some fine moments, like you're not making stuff, like highlights, or even if I were asking this question, like, boom, you already got an idea, you already have one,
I am.
path on really keep your passion, appreciate all that passion.
So Rob is asking me, I don't even know what he's asking me. So what keeps me passionate? Like I shot something right then and there and I knew it was right?
Yeah, well, just the stuff that kind of keeps you going, that like really started to for you off of that, got you.
Okay. Exploration of new places. And just, I think like the shots over the canyons, over the Green River, coming through and just being there at the right time. I don't know how to explain it. If you get up, you're out camping for a long time, and you get up at 4 or 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning to go capture the perfect sunrise on a location, and it all just comes together well. No.
All right, seriously, I'm going to answer it for him because this drives me crazy because he doesn't actually use the words that are in there. But this is the thing that I've noticed with Bunny, seriously, is when he's setting up shots or he's got a new vision, this joker will stay up all night and fidget with his camera and make sure that it's getting what he wants. So when you ask, and the reason I can ask or answer is because we spent a lot of time outdoors together, is he literally, like you'll see him transition. He'll be like, I'm going to shoot trees now. And he doesn't say it, but you'll notice it'll change. So the thing with Bunny is, it's like Coheed with squirrels. Like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. The difference is Bunny actually masters that thing. And then he moves on to the next thing. And so he's got this great repertoire. But if you notice, like through a lot of the pictures, again, it goes back to that passion thing. And because he's so passionate about the outdoors and about people, like I've seen him, I don't know if you saw, well, I'm sure you have like 8 times now, but there's that shot of the chimney from the old burned down house and the fire in the middle. He must have taken 30 shots of that. He's moving the camera and standing back and waiting and moving the camera. So what I've seen with Bunny is that he gets inspired by the last picture he took. So it's not that he's chasing the next thing. It's that he's bettering the thing before. So it's a really remarkable process to watch my friend, like as he transitions through this stuff. And it's amazing because of the resources are so vast. You just have to walk out the door. It's really remarkable.
I appreciate his big thing. Did that help? Yeah, sorry, Robin. I don't have the words sometimes. I'm shy. I think it's just about being in the moment, like Steve said, and he's right. I think what he's referring to the most is there's a shot of that the fire and the tent. Everybody went to bed and I stayed up. It's funny because the best image of anything you ever want to take a picture of, you already have the image before anyone else does. You saw something, it sparked your interest, and you kept that one for yourself, and then you decided to not be greedy anymore and shoot one to share. That's the truth. And so the motivation behind it all is going to be that first thing that inspired you to shoot in the first place. Yes.
Any other questions out there? No?
I'm super disappointed. Like seriously, you guys were supposed to heckle the heck out of this guy, and nobody heckled him. You came late, so I blame you for not heckling. But thanks so much for coming out. Bunny will stick around if you've got any questions for him. And a round of applause for Bunny for a great job. So as he's a good model too. Come here, Bunny. Hold this picture up. Look how good he looks. No, hold this picture up. Okay. So UpaDowna again is our organization, and one thing that he kind of alluded to during this is that we have a number of programs that we offer throughout the year, from stand-up paddleboarding to overnight camping. We have bike rides, climb nights, hikes, the whole shebang. If you have any interest in UpaDowna, please stop by the little table here and pick up stickers, flyers, that sort of thing to get a little more information. Again, tonight was the Adventure on Tap. We do this every month. It'll be here. If any of you in the audience, and those of you that I'm making eye contact with, that means you, and I just did that with everybody. Marissa, that's you. So, everybody, if you've ever taken a step outdoors, please feel free to share it with your friends and family and the UpaDowna family. And let us know about the things that help get you excited about it. It can be a walk in your backyard. It can be going to Machu Picchu. It can be going to Everest. It can be anything and everything. It's just simply lighting that fire for everybody else about the enjoyment of the outdoors. And one thing that you'll realize when it's all over, after you've been heckled, which you guys did a miserable job, but after you've been heckled and you've shown your pictures, you're going to go home with that fire rekindled and understanding what you did was such an amazing thing. So thank you guys all for showing up. Please harass Bunny. Hopefully we see you in future UpaDowna events. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, and drink beer.